I mean, what am I doing wrong? I'm going to all this trouble and expense of making Damascus, and I can buy beautiful Damascus for £15. I must be crazy. So I've cut that wood down to 2 slices, 2 or 3 millimeters thick, and that was the best, obviously the best face. But that's pretty much matched on each side. But it's when you get into the next one, it starts to deteriorate slightly. Like so. Which I think looks just amazing. So I'll just show you how I mark my fronts up when I'm trying to match up with something, you know, that's like that, like a nice curve or offset or anything. I simply put a piece of paper over, then to just mark it like that, where I'm going. I cut that out. I just make sure that that fits up exactly like that. Just run a line around the scale then, or around the liner in this case. Cut that out. I always leave it a little bit extra to give me wiggle room in case that doesn't exactly fit up when I put the scale on. So 1 and 2, ready to go on. All glued up, and we'll see you in the morning. So after the epoxy had set up, I put these on the little wood sander, belt sander, and I just flattened everything off, and I've run that face down flat on some paper. I then assembled the knife and I ran it across the grinder along the spine to clean the liners up with the spring and just get everything nice and snug and fitting well together. And now I'm going to assemble it. This is the first time I've tried this method of seating the phosphor bronze bush behind that brass bolster there. I just thought I'd try this different method. So incidentally, the length of that brass bushing is exactly the same width as the knife and the 2 washers, so that when it's clamped tight it can't get any tighter than that and crush the actual blade itself. Because I'm not going to screw this together, what I'm going to do is put a brass pin in it and peen it over. So it may still require a little bit of hand finishing this, I'm not sure. Should only need them 2 pins in. That little stop pin there. You can see there, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that when that's pinned together. What I've decided to do is I'm going to etch this spring. I'm going to gun blue it anyway. It's got a nice snap to it, but there's not so much tension that you can't open it. There's actually one thing I've got to do, which I just realised. You can see in the open position how the spring is exactly flush with that liner, almost. It's not quite, it's something and nothing higher than the liner or the spine. And in the closed position, we see it better there, in the closed position the spring is actually just sticking up ever so slightly there. So what I need to do is get the spring down a little. Just to show you what I mean here, that is the knife open. You can see it's flush with the back of the knife. When I close it, let's just put the pin in so I make sure we're in the right place. You can possibly see that it's slightly higher now there. So what I will do, where the spring contacts there, I will take that much off the knife there if I alter the spring in any way now, it will change the way the spring sits in the open position, so you don't touch the spring. You actually take a little bit off there, off the actual blade, so that when the knife returns to open it won't affect the spring. The spring will still sit in the same place, but taking a bit off there will allow the spring to go down. Okay guys, I have fitted that now, so you can kind of see the knife in the open, and the spring is perfectly flush with the spine, and in the closed we're also perfectly flush with the spine. So that's what you do. You just take a little bit off there. It didn't take much, a couple of minutes with the file and some paper to clean it up, and we're good again. I also recommend, if you do, like me, I guess there's not many people be doing this in Damascus, but if you do this in Damascus, don't etch that, and don't etch the underside of the spring, because you'll end up with a rough surface that won't be very slick in operation. That's what you want. I'll have to put a resist on this here to stop the etching into that there, just about halfway, anywhere where the spring contacts, so just from there round to there, and the underside of the spring as well, so that we don't get a coarse surface on that. So I just want to see what these scales are going to look like. You can see they're pretty dry, them scales, because that they're taking that oil right in. Okay, finally ready for assembly on this. I've got the spine blued, the blade re-etched, the pins cut to length. So I'm going to put it all together. I hate working with gloves on. I'll come back when I've got it assembled, guys. I've set myself up a little kind of post anvil in my vise, and I am just now peening the pins over. Just kind of gentle taps, but spend an awful long time tapping just to mushroom them heads over and expand them out into the brass slots. I just keep checking the blade to make sure it's not binding. It can't really in this situation, because that phosphor bronze bush is limiting how close them scales can go together. The only thing I could do here, of course, is crush the phosphor bronze bush, but I'm just checking that, and that seems fine. I'll just carry on peening here, then I'll go on to these little brass ones around the sides. You gotta be really careful here that you don't split this wood out, especially on that one where it's really close to the edge. That should be enough now to hold that in place. And I'll go on to the next one. Put some tape on there just to try and prevent me marking up that brass. And I'll start filing this down now as it's been peened and mushroomed over. And then I'll do the same with the other pins. Pins peened and filed. I am now just cleaning off the sides and those front bolsters. Yeah, I tape this up so that the grinding dust doesn't go in the mechanism there. And there we are, finally, after cleaning up. I'm really happy with it, the way it's come out. The mechanism is really nice. It's got such a good lock on it, good snap back. It's not so tight that you can't open it. It feels smooth. It's a nice skinny, slim knife. A good size, actually. You know, a good handful. A very, very usable knife. It's been sharpened up. Very sharp, very sharp. I will re-oil the handle a few more times just to completely seal it. So I keep trying to improve with my folding knives and the methods and the ways that I do them, and I think I'm finally getting there with these like traditionally built folding knives. I do like making them this way. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting me. I'll see you soon in the next video, guys. And coming up very soon, we will be making a knife from this amazing piece of eBay Damascus, which varies in thickness from 4 to 4.7 millimeters. As you can see, it's beautifully straight and flat. The nickel, supposed 15 and 20 bands in it, look like no 15 and 20 I've ever seen. There's quite a few inclusions literally everywhere. Bargain! A bargain! £15 for a bar of Damascus! And it's beautiful. Look at it. It's amazing. Hand forged. 15 and 20. 10.95. I mean, what am I doing wrong? I'm going to all this trouble and expense of making Damascus, and I can buy beautiful Damascus for £15. I must be crazy. Bargain. A bargain.